Good afternoon, dear students. The previous session we learned about distribution of major industries, especially the iron and steel industry and textile industry, and even the information technology also. So today's class we are going to learn about the iron and steel industries. Iron and steel industry. See, the iron and steel industry. This also comprises the same, that is about the various inputs, processes and outputs also. So this is a feeder industry whose products are used as raw material for other industries. Why it is considered as a feeder industries no? So because whatever the produces, whatever the products are produces, so manufactured in the iron and steel industry. So these the products are actually raw materials for some of the other industries. Getting now. So whatever the production or the products of the iron and steel industries as raw materials for other industries. So that's why. So this iron and industry is also called as a feeder industry for other industries. See, the inputs for the industry, this is including raw materials. So that we all of you knows that here the raw materials that is iron ore. So these are the raw materials in these industries. Iron ore and even coal was also required and the limestone. See, the iron ore, coal and limestones are so raw materials for the iron and steel industry. Getting now. See, along with, so these are only the raw materials. So along with, so again we all of you knows that whatever the essential required in industries such as labor, capital also, and site and other infrastructure also required. See, what is the process in this industries? So, the process of converting iron ore into steel. Getting now? So, converting iron into steel. So, actually, it involves many stages. So, immediately the iron ore it will be not converted into steel. So, the process of converting iron ore into steel actually involves many stages. So the first thing that is about the that undergoes the smelting. So please you can look your textbook also. There is the clear picture about that. The manufacturing steel that is about the what we call the smelting, and after that it is then refined. After smelting, refined, and the output obtained is steel, which may be used by other industries as raw material. Getting this students. So this is what the process. First, it is a very essential that goes under the smelting, and it is then refined, and the output obtained is so that is a steel which may be used by other industries as raw materials. So we all of you knows that steel is tough and it can easily be shaped. It is a tough and even so we can give any kind of shape also. So cut or made into wire. So we can cut also, we can made into wire also, and special alloys of steel that can be made by adding small amounts of other metals also. Getting now, for example, aluminium, nickel, and copper. See, alloys give steel unusual hardness. Getting now, so if we add some of the other amounts of the, I mean, some of the other material in a small amount, for example, aluminium, nickel, and copper. Then alloys give steel unusual hardness, toughness, or ability to resist rust also. Getting these students. So by adding some of the other materials in a small amount, so that can be used. For example, aluminium, nickel, and then copper. So that gives steel unusual hardness also, toughness also, ability to resist rust also. See, steel is often called the backbone of modern industry. So keep in your mind, steel is called as the backbone of the modern industries. So it is the backbone of the modern industry. Steel, because it is one of the essential. So almost everything what we are using so are either made of iron and steel or has been made with tools and machinery of these metals. So you all of knows that in our daily life we are using so many things and even in other industries also in other ways also. So the most of the things so made of iron or steel has been made with tools and machinery of these metals. Even ships, trains, trucks, autos. So these are all actually made largely of steel. Getting now, ships, trains, and trucks and autos are made largely of steel. See, even the safety pins, what we are using, the smallest, the safety pins, and the needles, what we are using in our daily lives. So that is also made of steel. That is also including a small, a safety pin, and even the what we called the needles also made from steel only. See, oil wells are drilled with steel machinery. So oil machines are there, no? So I mean the wells, oil wells. So those oil wells are drilled with steel machinery. So steel pipeline transport oil minerals are mined with steel equipment. So farm machines are mostly steel and large buildings have steel framework. So everywhere we are using the steel. Before 1800 AD, iron and steel industry was located where raw materials, power supply and running water were easily available. Getting the students. So these iron and steel industries were located before 1800 AD. So where raw materials, power supply and then running water were easily available. But later, the ideal location for the industry that was near coal fields and close to canals and railways also. Close to canals and railways. So after 1950, iron and steel industry began to be located on large areas of flat land near seaports also. See, this is because by this time steel works had become very large and iron ore had to be imported from overseas also. Getting this students. So in India, iron and steel industry has developed taking advantage of raw materials and cheap materials. I mean, cheap material in the sense that is including the cheap labor also, transport and market. Getting now. So in India actually has taken advantage of raw materials, cheap labor, transport and market. All the important steel producing centers that is in our especially in our country such as Bilai, Durgapur, Burnpur, Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bokaro. So these are situated in a region that spreads over four states, especially West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Getting to students. So the important steel producing centers in our countries, so such as Bhilai, understood. So Bhilai, Durgapur, Balpur, Rourkela, and Bokaro and Jamshedpur. Bokaro and Jamshedpur. See, these are the important iron and steel produced centers in our country. See, these are all the regions that spread over four states. So, especially West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh. See, all this, the producer center spread over all these four states, such as West Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Chhattisgarh. Getting now? See, in our Karnataka, that I think you all of you knows that Bhadravati and Vijayanagar. So, in our Karnataka, in Karnataka, Bhadravati and Vijayanagar. Okay, so Bhadravati Iron and Steel Industry, that a very old one and then famous one in our state. And in Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, in Andhra Pradesh. So, Visakhapatnam, and in Tamil Nadu, Salem. Getting the students. So these are the other some of the important steel centers utilizing local resources. Getting now students. So actually in our India, so the important producing centers such as Bilai, Durgapur, Balpur, Jamshedpur, Rourkela and Bokaro. So all these regions are situated and spread over four states such as West Bengal, Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Okay, so in our Karnataka, Bhadravati and Vijayanagar, and in Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, and in Tamil Nadu, Salem. So these are some of the important steel centers utilizing local resources. Got it, dear students? Now let us discuss about Jamshedpur. Okay, Jamshedpur. See, before 1947, there was only one iron and steel plant in the country. Getting no? So before 1947, before gaining independence, so there was only one iron and steel plant in our country. So that is Tisco. Understood now? That is what? Tisco. Tata. Tisco means Tata Iron and Steel. Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited. Which is well known as TISCO. Okay, Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited. So this is only the one, the iron and steel plant which was actually established in our country before 1947. It is the only one iron and steel plant. See, it was actually privately owned. That shows that name itself for the Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited. Okay. See, after independence, the government took the initiative and set up several iron and steel plants. So, after independence, the government took the initiative and set up several iron and steel industries. Okay. So, Tisco, it was actually started in 1907 at Sachi. Understood. So actually Tisco was started in 1907. So here Sanchi. See, it is actually near the confluence of the river Subarnarekha and Korkai in Jharkhand. So ಯಾವ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು it is actually confluence between river Subarnarekha and what we call the another one river that is Karkai. So this is actually in Jharkhand and present Jharkhand state. Okay. See, later the Sachi it was renamed as Jamshedpur. So later, so this Sachi it was renamed as Jamshedpur. Getting dear students. So geographically, Jamshedpur is the mostly, I mean, it's especially geographically. So the Jamshedpur is the most conveniently situated iron and steel center in the country. See, Sachi was chosen to set up the steel plant for several reasons. What were the reasons why the iron and steel plant so here set up? So there were so many, several reasons. So the first thing, this place was only 32 kilometer away from the Kalimati station on the Bengal Nagpur railway. So transportation is very much important. So actually, this place was only 32 kilometer away from Kalimati station on the Bengal Nagpur railway line. Bengal Nagpur railway line ಅಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾಳಿಮತಿ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಏನಿದಿಲ್ಲ ಐ ಮೀನ್ ದ ರೈಲ್ವೆ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕೇವಲ 32 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. This is the one the important reason. So it is so easy to for transportation purpose. See, then next, the important reason that it was close to the iron ore, coal, and manganese deposits as well as to Kolkata. It, it was very close to, so this Sachi region or Jamshedpur region is there. No? So this place, so it was close to the iron ore, coal, and then manganese deposits, and as well as even so to Kolkata. So which provided a large market. Getting now, so which provided a large market. So Tisco gets coal from Zaria coalfields. Okay, so Tisco gets coal from Zaria coalfields and iron ore, limestone, dolomite, and manganese from Odisha and Chhattisgarh. So these are the main important raw materials which are essentially required in iron and steel. So actually, Tisco gets coal from Zaria coal fields, understood now, and iron ore, limestone, dolomite, and manganese from Odisha and Chhattisgarh. And the Karkai and Subarnarekha rivers ensured sufficient water supplies. So government initiatives provided adequate capital for its later development. Even the government also supported a lot. Okay, so by providing adequate capital for its development also afterwards. Got it, dear students? See, in Jamshedpur, several other industrial plants were set up after Tisco. So actually, the Tisco it was set up first in Jamshedpur. Then afterwards, so there are a different I mean. So other industries also set up after the establishment of the Tisco. See, they produce chemicals, locomotive parts, agricultural equipment, machinery, and even the tin plate, cable, wire, so on and so forth. See, the development of the iron and steel industry opened the door to rapid industrial development in India. Getting now, so that's what I told that. So the iron and steel industry is the backbone of the modern industry. So the development of the iron and steel industry opened the doors to rapid industrial development, especially in our country. Almost all sectors of the Indian industry depend heavily on the iron and steel industry for their basic infrastructure. So there are other so many industries so which are actually completely depend heavily on the iron and steel industries for their basic infrastructure. The Indian iron and steel industry consists of large integrated steel plants as well as mini steel mill also. Many steel mills also. So it also includes secondary producers, rolling mills and even ancillary industries also. Getting dear students, it also includes secondary producers, rolling mills and ancillary industries also. So this is about so the Jamshedpur. How in Jamshedpur the Tisco it was established and as well as so how what we call the iron and steel. Why this location is actually really very comfortable for the iron and steel industry to set up iron and steel industry. Getting now. Now let us discuss about Pittsburgh. Okay, Pittsburgh. See, it is an important steel city of the United States of America. Okay, it is one of the important steel city in USA, United States of America. Getting now. So just you can imagine this Pittsburgh, it is known as Steel City of the USA, Steel City of the United States of America. See, the steel industry at Pittsburgh enjoys locational advantages also. So the same how in Jamshedpur, there we can see the locational advantages at the same here also. So some of the raw material such as coal is available locally, while the iron ore comes from the iron mines at Minnesota. Understood now? So they are actually got iron ore from the mines at Minnesota and about 15,000 kilometer from Pittsburgh. About 15, I'm sorry, not 15,000, 1500. So 1,500 kilometer from Pittsburgh. See, between these mines and Pittsburgh is one of the world's best routes for shipping ore cheap. That is the famous Great Lakes Waterway. Getting this, of course, it is so far 1,500 kilometer, but even though so, it is one of the world's best routes for shipping ore cheaply. The famous that is actually the famous Great Lakes Waterway. See, trains carry the ore from the Great Lakes to the Pittsburgh area. The Ohio and Monongahela and Allegheny rivers provide adequate water supply. So here there are two rivers which are supplying sufficient water. So Allegheny and Monongahela. Okay. See, today very few of the large steel mills are in Pittsburgh itself. So they are located in the valleys of the Monongahela and Allegheny rivers above Pittsburgh and along the Ohio River below it. See, finished steel is transported to the market by both land and water routes. By both land and water routes. The Pittsburgh area has many factories other than steel mills. So these use steel as their raw materials to make many different products such as railroad equipment, and heavy machinery and other rails and so on so things. Getting this place. So this is about so Pittsburgh. And the next class we are going to learn about cotton textile industries. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.